All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a gripping and honestly slightly unnerving mystery about AI and human expertise. We talk a ton about what AI can do for us, but today we're looking at the hard data on what AI might actually be doing to us. So grab your mental notepad because the science we're about to unpack fundamentally shifts how we view our relationship with tech. Let's kick things off with a scenario. Picture a highly experienced doctor. We're talking about a true veteran, someone with a practiced, razor-sharp eye who saved countless lives. Now, hand that doctor a cutting-edge AI diagnostic tool. The kind that catches the tiny details even the best human eyes might occasionally miss. They use this tool every single day for 3 months straight. But then, scientists take the AI away. What do you think happens next? So, this seasoned pro is suddenly asked to fly solo again exactly like they did before the AI showed up. Keep in mind, this person has 20 years of experience. They've seen literally thousands of patients. You'd probably assume 3 months with an AI assistant would just give them a nice temporary boost, right? Well, taking that tool away led to a pretty shocking discovery, one that just got published in a massive, highly respected medical journal. Section 1. The promise we were sold. AI was supposed to help. For years, the expectation was always that AI wouldn't replace human experts, right? It would just empower them. It's a win-win. But as we're finding out, that expectation kind of masks a really uncomfortable question. What actually happens to our deep expertise when it's never truly tested? When we never have to struggle for an answer because there's always this digital safety net there to catch us? Now, to be totally fair, we have to acknowledge that AI absolutely delivers on its promises of speed and efficiency. Across the board. The studies are clear. Software engineers using AI coding assistants are knocking out tasks 20 to 30% faster. In hospitals, AI systems are tearing through complex medical scans with just stunning speed. The promise was 100% real. Those productivity gains, also very real. Which brings us to Section 2, when the AI disappears, testing the baseline. So in 2025, this paper drops in the Lancet Gastroenterology and Hepatology, and it completely stunned the medical community. Researchers took highly skilled gastroenterologists. These are the specialists doing colonoscopies to spot precancerous growths. They had these doctors use a state-of-the-art AI detection tool every single day for 3 months. Then, in a remarkably simple but brutal move, the researchers just took the AI away. They wanted to measure their unaided baseline. And wow, the results were stunning. Their unaided detection rate plummeted from 27% down to 22%. That is a full 5% drop in just 3 months. I mean, it's not like they suddenly forgot decades of medical training, but that constant reassuring presence of an AI safety net had quietly, almost invisibly rewired how their brains approached the task. It is measurable, real-world skill loss. All right, Section 3, hospitals to code editors, a cross-industry issue. Because this isn't just happening in one field. Look at this massive 2026 survey of over 2,000 physicians. Nearly a quarter of them admitted they are deeply, actively concerned about junior doctors deskilling. But here is the wild part. Some veteran doctors actually self-reported that their own abilities had already started to slip from leaning too hard on AI. Meanwhile, let's look at software engineering, a field utterly transformed by these tools. Developers are documenting the exact same trajectory of skill atrophy. They've even coined a phrase for it, AI slop. Sure, engineers are writing code faster, but researchers are tracking a very noticeable decline in overall code quality and deep underlying understanding. Engineers are just accepting these automated suggestions without really reviewing them, and the code ends up relying on totally mediocre patterns because, well, that's what the AI was trained to spit out. And this highlights a frankly terrifying industry trend. We're seeing this massive hockey stick spike in AI coding tool adoption, right? But alongside it, there is a steep decline in hiring junior-level engineers. Companies just aren't hiring juniors because AI handles all the basic stuff now. But think about the long-term impact here. If young engineers never have to struggle through the basics, where on earth are tomorrow's senior experts going to come from? Section 4. The mechanics of deskilling. Why this happens. So scientists actually have an official name for this. It's called deskilling. And it's not just about forgetting facts. Deskilling is this phenomenon where professionals either actively lose their abilities or, and this is key, they fail to ever acquire those skills in the first place, entirely because they rely on technological assistance. Researchers found this actually plays out in 2 distinct layers. Here's how it works. Step 1 is exactly what happened to those veteran doctors. Individuals slowly lose their unaided ability just from a sheer lack of practice. The mental pathways basically get thin from disuse. But step 2, that's where things get much darker. Newer professionals never fully learn the skills at all. Because the tech makes the foundational, gritty struggle feel totally unnecessary from day one, those critical neural pathways are literally never forged to begin with. On top of all that, there is a super powerful psychological factor at play here called automation bias. Essentially, it's this hardwired tendency in our brains to inherently trust a machine's judgment over our own, even when our human instincts might actually be spot on. Without even realizing it, we quietly shift our trust away from our own hard-earned expertise and just assume the computer knows best.
Moving to Section 5, Future of Human Expertise, Extending Capabilities.
Now, the good news is we're starting to catch on. Some major medical institutions are actively pushing back against deskilling by totally redesigning their training protocols. New doctors now have to step up and prove their clinical competence completely without AI assistance first, before they're ever allowed to touch the tool. They're drawing a hard line in the sand. AI is a tool, absolutely never a crutch.
We really need to recognize just how fundamentally different this technology is. Look, every tool in human history has reshaped us. Calculators changed how we do arithmetic. GPS completely changed how we navigate. But AI? AI is a whole different beast. It doesn't just help you execute a task. In a lot of cases, it actively replaces the actual human judgment that doing the task was supposed to build in your brain. I want you to consider this idea. The goal was never to replace human expertise. It was to extend it. And those are not the same thing at all. The data couldn't be clearer. AI genuinely improves outcomes when it's treated as a partner. But we have to remember that a true technological partnership should extend our capabilities outward. It shouldn't quietly and visibly erode our independence from the inside.
So the question isn't whether AI is going to keep improving. Of course it will. The real underlying question that researchers are scrambling to answer right now is this: can human expertise survive its own convenience? It's a provocative thought, and I'll leave you to chew on that the next time you're tempted to just blindly click accept on an automated suggestion. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the hard questions and keep learning.